Up next, the topic is the crippling cost of non-compliance. And for the same, I would like to introduce the speaker. Mr. Sudheendra Bharadwaj is a seasoned professional with 8+ years in T&E management. As Director of Solution Consulting at Happay, he drives effective solution for clients like Piramal, PwC, Tata Group, and his expertise benefits businesses in India, MEA. Please welcome Mr. Sudheendra Bharadwaj, Director Solution Consulting at Happay. Let's have a huge round of applause, everybody.
So today we are here to talk about the crippling cost of non-compliance, and we'll be looking at some of the numbers. So as per GlobalScape, we understood that on an average, the non-compliance in any organization on a year-on-year basis from the past 10 years is up to 45%. And this is expected to grow with 2.71% year-on-year, which means employees who are raising reimbursements or things like that that happen in the organization where there is certain non-compliance that comes into picture, we are seeing a raise of 2.71% growth. So what Happay has done here, Happay is an expense management solution and a travel management solution, which is a global leader in all of this space, is come up with a DAP method, which we'll be talking about today. So before that, let's look at some of the other ways, other mediums using which certain non-compliance is happening, right? So we have non-compliance in payroll, we have information security where certain audits are supposed to be done for the data security of the organization. Then we have medical insurance where certain family medical insurances, all of these are certain places again where we are seeing certain non-compliances. And then we have procurement. But up to 22% of this entire data on a year-on-year basis is coming from travel and expense management. So that's where Happay comes into picture, where we have a world-class travel and expense management system which can set certain rules in the organization which can help you reduce the non-compliance that is currently happening. So what is this? So the cost of non-compliance is increased, is 3x times reduction in finance team's productivity. That's what happens when there is non-compliance. Somebody will have to manually check all the invoices somebody has actually submitted. That will take a lot of time for the finance team. There is an increase in cost. If at all people are booking flights and they're booking it, let's say 3 hours prior to the flight or like a 1 day prior to the flight, there's a huge cost that the company incurs whenever these kind of expenses come into picture, right? Then we have delay in employee reimbursements. So typically it should not take more than 5 to 6 days in a large organization or maybe maximum to that particular month end for the employee to actually get their reimbursements. But what we have seen as per the data, it takes up to an average of 60 days for an employee to get their reimbursements back whenever you follow any sort of manual methods or any of the other non-compliant methods. So to actually get into frame, so we have built a framework called DAP framework. DAP stands for Data, Approvals, Audit, and Process. So these are the main 4 pillars of the expense management where you would be able to ensure that there is no non-compliance by any of your employees who are actually in the organization, right? So how Happay can help you automate it and how Happay would be able to bring in that change in the organization and help you save up a lot of money is what we'll be talking about. So first one is the data. So whenever the data is entered manually by any sort of employee, right? So there's the employee is prone to actually do some mistakes where they might enter additional digit or certain bill numbers, all of these kind of things. So what Happay can do can automate your entire data capturing process. So we have multiple ways using which the expenses can be created and some of which are shown here. So we have our own cards called Happay cards. These are prepaid cards wherein you can load money to the employee wallet. And when they make a spend, automatically on a real-time basis, these transactions are created against that employee's dashboard, which means the manager has visibility, the finance has visibility, and employee need not actually manually create expenses. This means all that they have to do is attach an invoice to that transaction and they're good to go. Then we have other methods as well. We have WhatsApp, emails, we have email plugin, both on Gmail as well as Outlook, wherein any sort of invoices that you receive on your email ID, something like a mobile bill or an internet bill, all of these can be automatically captured using the Gmail or Outlook plugin itself. Similarly, we have SMS feature wherein we know in India, whenever you make a spend, There's a standard message that comes from the bank. An amount of, let's say, 300 is spent at Domino's or Jubilant Foodworks. And all of this message has a fixed format. So using this as well and using some of the AI technologies, we have figured out a way to create the expenses automatically using this SMS feature as well. Then we have physical bills, which is OCR. The employee need not again enter any of the information manually, but rather scan that bill, and we use IBM Watson, Google Vision, which would help us give you accurate data on that particular transaction. We can also check the GST-IN numbers and help you claim GST as well. Then we come for approvals. So standard approvals in the organization goes through emails, and that takes a lot of time. There's no tracking as such done. If at all they are violating some policies, let's say there's a limit of like 5,000, if at all they expect, like, the expense is 5,500, then this is a violation as per the organization, right? So this can have deviational approvals as well. So all these can be automated on the Happay platform, where you would be able to just raise an expense report and the system will take care of the rest. So certain organizations in our company like PwC have removed the entire approval cycle itself if at all there is no policy violation, which means if at all the employee is eligible to claim that much, then why to waste time in approvals, right? You can actually directly send it to finance, and only when there's a policy violation, you can ask the manager to approve on that particular expense. So then we have the audit practice, where we can set certain policies, rules, limits on the transactions. So we have smart audit feature, where we would check for duplication. It is not just data or whatever the employee has entered, that duplication, but an image-wise duplication as well. So pixel to pixel, we actually check and capture whether two people in the organization or the same person has uploaded the same bill. And then the smart audit would be able to tell you. We can also help you with certain restricted line items. I'm sure the finance team would not be happy with certain liquor-based expenses that the employees claim, right? So we can have certain keywords that are actually embedded in the system. If at all the bill finds certain words like rum, whiskey, vodka, automatically that will highlight to the finance telling there's a restricted line item in the bill. Do you still want to go ahead and approve it? So this is somehow we would be able to reduce certain sort of non-compliance that is happening in the organization. Apart from these, we have certain rules and checks wherein certain departments would not be able to claim certain expenses. All of those checks and balances can also be added on the Happay portal. So the next one is the policies again. This is how. So policies again on Happay are of two types. One is a soft block and the other one is a hard block. A soft block policy is the one where the employee would still be able to submit it. There'll be a warning message where as per your grade or eligibility, you're not allowed to actually take these kind of expenses or claim these kind of expenses. This can also be put on both your travel and as well as expense. So you'll be able to book your flights and hotels as well on Happay, wherein if at all you're booking it 7 days prior to your travel, this can have a shorter workflow cycle, because whenever you book 7 days prior, time is equal to money, right? So the more you'll be spending on the flight ticket, and if at all you actually again end up taking a lot of time in your approval, that would also evidently prove to actually increase the fare of the price, the flight that you have booked. So that can also be taken care of, where you can block the particular flight at the price that you've seen, and then we would book it for you if it's a corporate flight, and then cancel it if you don't get the approval within the stipulated amount of time. So that's also something that the Happay tool would be able to help you, wherein whatever price you see, a flight or a hotel, during the approval cycle, if at all it gets increased, that also can be taken care of, because we block the price at the price that the employee has seen it in and book it for them. So this pretty much talks more about the entire expense management and the travel management that we have. I would be happy to take any questions that you have right now. Yes. Yeah. Is there a mic that you can pass to that person? Yes, you're audible, sir.
With the bank for auto process kind of thing?
I'm sorry, sir, I missed that during the mic process.
See, whatever the approval process you have built in, the workflow, can you try to make it to the bank, the organization approved it, whether it can be passed on to the bank integration, anything you've done
so
with that?
we can integrate with any sort of ERP that you have, SAP, Oracle. We are not directly integrating with any of the payroll systems, because there's already a connection with the payroll system and the ERP. We'll be able to send the data to SAP, Oracle, or any of the other ERP that you're using, and from there the data can be sent. Rest assured, sorry.
You've done anything, any integration with the banker?
We have tried it. We have done it in a couple of cases, but a standard method is this. But if at all there's any challenges, we would also be able to directly integrate with the bank. Not a problem with that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, sir. So we have come up with an entire case study with the PwC team, because PwC also one of the customers who were using a lot of physical invoices. If at all that's a mandate in your organization, we can also facilitate that, where in the workflow we can add a state where it says waiting for physical bill. But this would clearly reduce or increase the time in which the employee reimbursements are done. But I have a case study with the PwC team which actually says that we don't need to have any of the physical invoices. Maybe I'm claiming a lot here on this forum, but we have certain evidences which has come from the government body itself, where it is not mandatory for you to have the physical invoices. We can actually discuss more on this at the board after this. Yeah.
And what about travel companies like Thomas Cook and others? They
Yes.
do flight management. So how do you integrate
Yes,
that?
sir. So Happay is a travel aggregator. Any sort of travel management company that you're working with, we would be able to integrate with that. It's a plug and play for us. Coming to invoices for your airline invoices, where you can claim up to 5% of GST, we have something called a GST scraper, which can integrate with the email ID in your organization, wherein we will give you a GST type 2 and type 3 report as per your requirement on the set date, using the GST scraper feature that we have. I hope this answers your question. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for your time.